What's up, everybody? Mike Anderson here. 603 tuning in. Part 2, Billy Burr. Beautiful day out, beautiful Sunday. So, Billy.
Fall.
Yeah, fall season has come. Yeah,
Came
dude.
quick. You know we're only like 3 months from Christmas, dude.
That's craziness.
It is crazy.
And like Halloween is here.
No.
Like, oh man,
It's
we're out
nuts.
here and we're both in hoodies.
Yep.
Shit, last time we were out here, we were sweating
No,
balls.
and that was like only 3 weeks ago.
Only 3 weeks, yeah, facts. So, what we want to get back to is the story of this man and how he experienced his first days, not in the county jail, but in the prison. So, Billy, the mic is yours, bro.
So most people are telling me to shut up half the time.
Right, fair enough.
I don't know. Like, I can't. It's hard for me. It's hard, like, not to glorify prison at first because you're fed 3 meals a day. You definitely like aren't starving. Maybe sometimes you are, like, because there's never extras and you're always hungry when you're laying around when you're bored.
Right,
So,
right.
But I never had any money going in or anything like that, so I had to live off like what they gave you. And the first time I went in 2012, I went for my first like 2.5 years, and I kept trying to prolong it because I had never been,
Right.
and I wanted to keep pushing everything out. And finally, they just said, "Yeah, that's fair enough. We're not gonna push you out anymore. We're gonna sentence you now, and there's nothing more we can push out." So I went, and I knew a couple of people that I went with, so that made it a little bit easier.
Yes, it does.
And my first time there, for the first 6 months, all I wanted to do was get high, and it's there. Like it was there because
Accessible.
when I first went, like Suboxone, like you could get it on the street, obviously, because you were prescribed it,
Right.
but then you couldn't have it in the prison.
Right.
It wasn't prescribed then. Now it's in the prison, and like it's not even worth trying to smuggle it in because it's there.
Yeah, I've heard they had the programs now.
Yeah, they have the program. So I mean, it's not. It cut down a lot of problems for them.
Yeah.
A lot of problems.
Yeah.
But it was that first 6 months. I think like I had this big picture of that it was just going to be. I was going to walk into the prison and go up to somebody and be like, "Hey, you got Suboxone? I want to get and stay high all the time." And it just didn't work that way. Like I was running around with my head cut off, and I didn't have the money to pay for it all the time, and I was
Right.
trying to find, come up with different ways to get money, and it just wasn't a good thing to do in your first 6 months there because nobody knows who you are, and even
Right.
though some people do, they don't,
It's just chasing the dragon.
Right.
Right.
on the way, the same thing that put you in there.
Right, exactly.
So, but it was me trying to do everything that I did before I even went in, which was mask, what wasn't making me feel comfortable,
Right.
which was now being in prison. So,
Right.
and before that, it was whatever else was going on in my life on the outside, that wasn't comfortable, so I just, it was just easier to try to stay high every day and not forget about it and try to forget about it. I mean, and, somebody finally pulled me aside and said, "Hey, if I'm watching you run around like with your head cut off from pod to pod to pod, if I'm seeing you do this, a lot of other people are seeing you doing it, and it just doesn't look good, and it
Right.
makes it makes you look like you might be like a hot case or trying to get somebody in trouble or whatever." So they gave me some advice. They just said, keep your circle small.
That's
You know,
good
and-
advice.
oh, huge.
That's very good
Huge.
advice.
I remember exactly who he was when he said it, how he said it to me, and it didn't even happen right off. Like it took me a couple more months after that to remember. And he would walk by every day, and I'd see him on my pod, and he'd say, "Small, small," and I'd be like, "What was I doing something wrong?" And he'd be like, "No, just reminding you, And he kept drilling, and finally, I want to say that it was hard to even that first 2.5 years. Maybe towards the end, I started getting to the point of like where I started just like keeping to myself.
Right.
Because I just got tired of the hustle. I got tired of
The hate and discontent.
they're running around and the people saying you paid when you didn't, and it just nothing was ever smooth. Nothing ever went smooth, and you always had to worry about getting in trouble. And,
New Hampshire State Prison.
Yeah.
That's how it happens,
Yeah.
man. People just
jealous and would drop a dime on you because they don't have what you do.
that's facts.
Yeah.
That's facts. Can I ask you what landed you in that first 2.5?
Yeah. So I had that first 2.5. I was already on probation for. Yeah, can we wave? She's gonna come over and see what we're doing because she's nosy. So sorry, you can edit that part.
No, it's all right. It's good. That's good content.
So yeah, I had. Whoops! I kicked the table. I was already on probation for prescription fraud for changing the number on a prescription, and I just kept violating.
And it built up to that.
And it built up to
state
the
charge.
point of where they said, like, we just can't. We're not going to give you any more county time.
Right, you're going up the way.
You picked up new charges on top of what you got left for probation, and we've maxed you out on what we can suspend and so you're going to have to do some prison time. And at first it was just like it wasn't really. I don't know. It wasn't like it was really real because I still had, like, I got 2 months. They'll change their mind, And as you get closer, it starts to wear like, I don't know what I'm going to do and how is this going to work out. And of course you see all the horror shows on all the videos on TV and stuff like that about prison and stuff. So you just don't know what you're walking into. And it was uncomfortable, obviously. And so anyway, yeah. So I had picked up more charges for burglaries and it was all for absolutely everything that I did. Had to do with trying to get opiates or money for opiates. More back when the prescription pills were more around, when it was more oxys and perk 30s and stuff like that.
Yep.
That's what really grabbed me.
Actually, from the pharmacy.
Yeah.
It wasn't any fake pills.
Yeah. No, not like the fake fentanyl pills, which I've absolutely thank God I've never seen. I've never seen one. I've never seen a fake
around here.
Gonna
spend that money around.
I've never seen one.
Get the real shit.
I've never seen one. And so, anyways, like I said, it was back during the prescription pills time, and I did a lot of doctor shopping, and that caught me a few violations. And because when I got on probation the first time, they wanted one pharmacy and one doctor, and I just wasn't doing it. I just wasn't doing it because I didn't think they were really going to keep that much of a track of me. They had bigger fish to fry.
Right, in your mind, that's what's going through the divorce.
Yeah, and they did have bigger fish to fry until they started hearing my name every single day. From different departments that would call them, different police departments, and then you get called in, and once you're in that probation office, there's no guarantee that you're walking out.
Yeah, and once you're labeled.
Yep.
That's facts.
Yep. So they knew what my MO was, that it was, going to different doctors and lying about back pain and whatever it was that I could get, the pills to cover me until I was going to get them somewhere else.
Right, and either way you were getting that.
Yeah, I was doing it, whatever way.
All right, bro. Well, that's good. That was the first bid.
Yeah, that was the first bid, and it was, like I said, my first bid was a 2.5 to 5, and
2 to 5.
It didn't. It went by pretty quick. I mean, but it was. Yeah, it's very true too. Like when I went back in the next time, it's exactly what they say. Is it wasn't even as bad.
You were more comfortable.
I was more comfortable because I already knew what to expect.
Yep.
And
maybe knew some people
that had said, "Hey, we'll see you in a couple of years."
Yeah, exactly.
And I deny, I like no way, I would tell them like, no way, this is never happening again.
I can relate to that.
I'm not doing it.
My first chow hall bid at Concord, New Hampshire State. Like you smell that, and like the distinctive smell. I had a dude walking next to me, and I was so young. He's like, "You're gonna smell that again." And I told myself, no.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna smell this again.
Right.
Motherfucker, I was wrong. Because it wasn't. Maybe a year later, I was standing there smelling that shit again.
Yeah. And you hate yourself for it, too.
Of course. Unless it was cake day.
Yeah.
We get a cinnamon bun or
there's
something.
There's nothing like, I would try to, I've always struggled with what the opiates did for me was give me confidence. Like,
yep.
I always struggled with, with self-confidence and about, you know, who I was, what I looked like, what I, you know, how I looked out in public. You know, it was a persona that I had to put on, and the opiates like took away all of that anxiety, you know, the depression, anything that I had. It was just, I didn't care.
Go out in public and be yourself.
I just didn't care. I could be whatever.
In a way, that's healthy. You know how sick is that to say? Like,
I mean,
in
you don't feel
healthy.
like it's unhealthy at all.
No, you're like, because it is healthy. Because if you get off of it, here I am. I'm 8 years. I could say this. I'm 8 years on the 17th of July. 8 years. And some of the days I open the door and I just want to shut it.
Yep.
I just want to shut that door, man. Because, like, I don't want to sit back on the couch and watch it. Because I'm anxious. What's if I fuck up? What's if I make a wrong choice?
Yep. And you just sometimes.
But with that
confinement, like, can get also like addicting too. Like
that
you know, just shutting yourself in a room and not going out. Like, I know what it's like to stay in a room for, you know, you stay in there for 3 or 4 days and you got to go out because you got a couple of appointments, and it's like you have to, like, sometimes I have to force myself to go do it. As much as I don't want to, it would feel much better just to lay down and watch TV some more. And I don't want to, but you have to.
Do you feel better when you come home? Sometimes I feel better.
Once I get out, and get moving, you definitely you do feel. And they always say it whatever. Always I've been told is that when you are, like, once you get up and go, and you'll feel better. And at first you tell yourself, no fucking way. That's not going to make no difference.
Because I don't want no issues.
Yeah.
But it does make me feel better.
Yeah.
So while I got you, Billy, can we talk about the secondary, your big case?
Oh yeah, I mean the second time. Oh yeah, this one.
Your burglary.
You know, and it wasn't even anything any bigger than what I had done the first time.
Right.
It was just because it had been again, and it was like they were just like, we've, you know, given you almost every break we could do. Now we're gonna smoke you.
Right.
And we're gonna make an example out of you, because it was they considered the changing of the prescription, even though, because it was a narcotic drug, they considered that as my first offense of possession, even though I never got the pills or anything like that. Just the changing the number on the paper, the falsifying of a false or forged prescription, they considered it as my first offense.
Oof.
So this time, the second time when I got caught with just over a half a gram of fentanyl in 2016, but they had came to arrest me for 3 burglaries that I had done on businesses because I was sick.
Right.
That night, and when they came to arrest me, which was, I had been out like 18 months on my second bid. I only had like probably 10 months left to go on parole at that time.
Fuck.
So I was actually out on bail because I had stolen a check and signed it. So that was the original reason they put me on bail conditions. Then they came to arrest me. Oh no, I'm sorry. I was out on bail, and then they actually brought me home that night. The police department did.
Nice.
They wanted my checkbook so that I wouldn't write anymore.
You can't do that.
So I literally gave them all the checks I had, anyways, because it was a closed account, anyways. I was just writing them for whatever I could get, you know, at the time.
Of course, if they were cashing them, we were right there.
Yep. And so they took all of them, and then I was on misdemeanor bail.
Yep.
And it says right on your bail conditions that if you get arrested or are charged with a felony or anything other than another crime while you're on bail, you can get it enhanced to a felony, and it can be 7 years consecutive, not concurrent, running together.
Right.
Consecutive. You're doing 7, then you're doing 7 more.
Another 7.
So that's 14. Yeah. And they can do that.
Yes, they can.
They can.
And they do.
They do
all the time.
Yeah.
And they fuck people like that all the time.
And in 2014, like 2016, the fentanyl thing was just blowing up.
Yep.
It was really getting into New Hampshire, and they didn't really know what was going on with it at that time. That it was going to be an epidemic.
Right.
So I had, like, it wasn't until I was about 3 years in on this bid, actually on the second bid, that I saw people getting busted with sticks of dope.
Yeah.
And getting like 5 years or 3 years, and here they gave me a 4.5 to 11 for a half a gram of dope, and I was like, how did this even happen? It's not. How did I get? But then I had to look back about how thick my discovery was. You know, this is starting from 2000, and now we're in 2016, and it's this thick. You know, like,
yeah, dude,
if somebody wanted to read my paperwork, bro, man, it would take them days.
Yeah, you got a Bible, days, bro.
Yeah.
And that's facts. I mean, he's my neighbor and everything, and I'm online. I have looked it up, and like it is like that thing. Yeah. But it's all about that. Yeah. And you see a lot of these dudes getting caught, just like you said, with sticks and coming home just like that. Like, what is that?
Like out before I was even out.
Like, dude, we didn't even get off.
Like, how did it? And it was nothing. I never had not one charge that had any kind of like physical aspects of it. There was never a fight. There was never any assaults. There was never any domestic. There was never anything violent ever. It was strictly burglaries that were done when nobody was there. Nobody was home at the places, or there were businesses that were closed at night,
right?
And nobody was there. And I got caught on camera on the first one, and that just set me up for, you know what, you got me here. I was tired of it at that time, and it was time to be done. I was thinking at that point I'm gonna be in my 50s before I get off parole. You know, and I'm 53 right now.
You were right.
And I still have 2 years to go, you know.
And that's not right.
And it's been
these dudes are fucked off.
For sticks, and they're not.
They're fucked off, bro.
And they're done, you know. Yeah. Or they got treatment, you know. I know people that even on their first bid, they got caught with, you know, 100 grams or whatever. Right. And they got treatment. And it was like, how... How the fuck does that even happen?
We got smoked. We all went to.
And I'd love to say that it's not fair that you know, but I also know like that, you know, I was already in my I was 40 when I went and did my first prison bid. 40 years old, and the court saw it as like, you should know better.
Oh,
you know what I mean? That's how you should know better. You're old enough to know. You know, so they made an example of me, and I'll be, you know, I'm not going to deny the seriousness of what could have happened if I'd have walked into a place where there was a gun, which there was, and if somebody had been there and I had gotten shot, or they had gotten shot, or how it could have turned out.
Yeah, but the way it turned out was the best possible scenario.
Yeah, and I'll never forget, like, the Grafton, or the police, when they arrested me that day, and I told him I was going to be dope sick, and he said, well, don't you think if you're using dope like that every day, you should, you know, go to jail and dry out for a little while? And I was like, no, fuck no. Are you crazy?
That's the last thing I want to do.
Yeah. I said, if you let me go right now, I swear to God, I'll never do it again.
That's right, just you.
Yeah, and it was just, it's a horrible feeling, that first day of going through and getting processed and knowing what's coming. And the only thing that made me feel better is doing the county time before, is getting to that point of where I wasn't sick anymore, and that I had gone through that anxiety of the everyday.
You kind of had your mental right.
Yeah, and having my head right when I went, because and just get it through your head that, like, this is the way it is,
and
there's nothing that's going to change it unless I don't know what, we had a nuclear war or something, you know.
Right, but what was that?
Who wants that?
No, we're going.
Yeah.
We'll go 3 odds.
Yeah. So it was just done. It was time, and I hated every minute of it, but there was just nothing at that point in time. You just have to get your head right at that point.
That's the true point. And when you say you have to get comfortable, that sucks, man. Nobody wants to tell somebody.
Who wants to get comfortable?
To get comfortable in a situation like that, man.
You have to learn how to like I've never had a problem with respect. Luckily, I grew up, you know, with a father that was in military, and he taught me respect. Sorry, I'm just looking for my lighter.
No, it's of course you're fine.
He taught me respect, and that was huge. I mean, so I respected, you know, I always respected my elders, and I always respected people of authority. I never had a problem with cops. until I went to prison.
Till you had a problem.
Yeah, until I had a problem.
Yeah.
And then there was always the ones that just wanted to cause problems. That wanted to if they were having a bad day, they wanted to make you have a bad day.
And they were going to do everything they could to do it. So to be able to endure that type of thing, and still in the back of your mind knowing that you're going to end up going to prison,
Yep.
and you still have to, that takes that's strength, man.
Yeah, it's not something that I like. When I think about wanting to get my head right, I always thought of it as like when I was playing basketball or something, get my head ready for the game.
Yep, locked in.
Concentrate on the game. And when I was playing softball, that was one of the best things that I want to say. It was kind of like it wasn't like an opiate high, but it was like the fact that when I played softball at night under the lights, so like being out under the lights, it was just nothing else in the world would bother me.
Almost, yep.
It was just that was like a great time, stuff like that. Yep.
And Berlin with the softball.
Yeah,
I was like, I played for the teams on Berlin.
Yep.
And I played with a smashed face, first base, and I had my whole face was smashed, but I still showed up for the game.
Yep. Yeah, I hated. I hated. I want to say like the idea of Berlin itself just makes me want to go take a shit. I mean, that's the best way I think about it, because it's that uncomfortable feeling like, oh my God, dude, I don't want to go out and be shut in for 6 months during the winter
and have it's not an open campus or nothing.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's like a county jail.
It's a big county jail.
Yeah. And the worst part is, if you're like me, I don't think I'm like. Everybody's always told me that, and I'm not trying to sound anything special, but everybody's always told me that I can get along with anybody.
Yep.
I've worked at places where that I've had to get along with hundreds and hundreds of people, and it's not the same, but there's all kinds of different personalities.
Oh,
and
man.
I never wanted to really get to know anybody that well. So for a lot of the times, especially in Berlin, I would just stay in my room. And this second bed, thank God for COVID payments, so I had some money.
So there's money there.
So I was able to get a TV, and which I'm telling you, man, TV is a difference between night and day.
Oh yeah, if you're stuck in that cell, facts.
Night and day.
That TV is facts.
Because I would get more anxiety when I went out on the pod when it was bright lights and people were playing cards and yelling and screaming.
Hard as fuck. And people are ignorant.
I hated it.
Let's keep it real. There's a lot of ignorant people there.
Yeah. And it might have been
not a respect.
It might have been because I was a little older. If I was still in my 20s when I went,
it might have been
different. It might have been more of I might have looked at it as like, hey, this isn't too bad. I don't have to work on it. But I felt that's one of the things that made me feel uncomfortable, that I tried to escape when I was there, because I felt like, God, I should be home working. I got a kid, and here I am sitting in jail, and I can't pay child support, and and I'm sitting here with, I can't do this, and there's nothing that describes how shitty that makes you feel.
That's fact.
Yep.
And I was that 20-year-old now looking back. I'm only 30 now, but I was that 20-year-old and on B block that was just trying to get active.
Yep.
And I tell you right now, it's not worth it.
No, absolutely not. It's not. Like, don't let anybody tell you that you need to get your stripes or anything like that.
Fuck no, bro.
I was lucky, and the one thing I never got involved in was any of the politicking or gangs or anything like that either. So, and that's just another thing that's going to keep you there longer,
dude.
Because they will label you
if you don't get hurt, and then eventually they're gonna fucking forget about you, and that's exactly how that goes. You could put in months of work for this certain group, and then some dude comes from the county and he don't like you, so that's that.
Or their minimum is before yours,
right? And
so they're gonna try to push somebody through.
We ain't doing that. No.
Yep.
Anyway.
And it just causes what it did is it would cause fights, and it would cause people to just like not like other people. Like, why should he be going home and not me?
Exactly.
And that's just how.
And how are you going to be afraid of going home?
Yeah.
You know what I
That
mean?
caused
I met some
anxiety,
of those
too.
kids
Dude, that
that I
caused
can't
anxiety,
tell
too.
anybody that I'm getting ready to go home.
Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think that last 2 weeks on my first bid, that last 2 weeks before I knew I was going home,
Yep.
somebody said I had, all they said, the first time I heard it was short timers syndrome. And I was
Right.
because I would never leave my room. I was like, I'm just staying right
These
here.
dudes are
I'm just
gonna
going to
move
sleep.
on
I'm going
me.
to sleep. And I'm going to sleep until it's time to go home and sleep the time away. And that's how that's how I would try to just not have to deal with anybody and get up on the day that I had to go home and get the hell out of here. And
Bounce, yeah.
we just wanted to get that time by and done. Yep.
But anyway, I think
getting
we
dark.
wrap this up.
Getting
Yeah, it's
dark
getting
out here.
dark. I'm
Yeah.
losing you. You're on all
Yeah,
black.
I was starting to move up because I can see myself.
You're on all black.
Yeah.
I want to get a quick shot, if I can, of this pool. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll edit it out if I can, but the reflection is golden.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah. This is much better view looking at it this way than it is looking at it in prison.
See, yes. Take it from the man himself.
And there's nothing better, man, than a fall night with a sweatshirt on. I'm telling you.
That's right. We were waiting
So
for this
comfortable.
weather.